Hello everybody and welcome to the Learn Dota 2 League Season 13 Playoff Bracket. This is going to be a weird game for a lot of reasons. First of all, you might notice that this isn't draft phase. The draft phase happened in a different game, and then something went wrong, so they just kind of redid it here. So we're just kind of starting right here at the top of room phase. Which is really strange. Very, very, very strange. So, there's going to be something else that's going to be very strange in this cast. It's just going to be me, because it's like 3 a.m., nobody's here. I tried for hours to get this game up in any other way, and it's not happening. It is just simply not going to happen. It is just me flying solo tonight, so I hope you all learn to love me, baby. Runes start out just, that's interesting. Nobody actually gets the bot rune here for LST. And Meat has DC'd again. I have a fun feeling I'm going to be needing this very soon. But yeah, it's a very snake-bitten game. A lot of things kind of had to go wrong to get here. As you can see, Kai is standing in for Spectre. Kai is standing in on Spectre over Chris. Chris is not Spectre. Yeah, do not believe anybody who claims that he is. And Spirit Breaker is back, though he's going to have to take the Walk of Shame back to lane. So, with that being said, Budget Miracle over here in the mid lane. With that being said, do everyone's favorite part of this cast start off with the roll call. Position 1 for Lone Sniper Theory, you've got Kai on the Spectre, as mentioned earlier. We also have First Blood that, just barely, almost happened there. Good body block preventing that. Pause 2, captain of the team, Iceman on the Ember Spirit, currently here against the Viper here in the mid lane. Pause 3, Blackacre, formerly known as Boofus on the Sand King. Pause 4, you got Shockwave on Rubik. And pause 5, you got Bliss, who rhymes with Chris, but not today because Chris ain't here, on the Crystal Maiden. On the other hand, on MK-Ulty, pause 1, we have Lambert, sponsored by Midas. On the Troll Warlord, pause 2, captain of the team, got Mickle on the Viper. Pause 3, you've got Godlike Matt on Tidehunter. Pause 4, you got Run Over Meat on the Spirit Breaker, making his first appearance in LD2L in quite a few weeks. And pause 5, you have H's on the Dazzle. And the Centaur has now officially stomped Run Over Meat. Interesting support trade down here. The creeps are making that really awkward run over Meat. He tried to go after Bliss there and just got run over by Centaurs. Spectral Dagger coming out there. The Centaur is still just making a mockery of poor run over Meat. Just can't catch a break today. Top lane you have there's more support trades going on. Support trades happening all around. No surprise here. Feels like that's a very regular way for LD2L games to start in recent weeks. You know, both side lanes, the cores just completely ignore each other, the supports just go off to the jungle to beat each other up, and the cores just kind of stare at each other for a while, and see how that sort of goes. I vowed to show more mid this game, which basically means any mid at all, really. It's very rarely do we go over that. But in lieu of spending too much time in the lane, because, you know, I would be very remiss to do something like that. So I'm going to go down on basically how you can expect this mid lane to go down, because, you know, I know this in my head, but I don't elaborate, and it is my job as caster to elaborate. So let me tell you a little bit about strategy in this game, right? Iceman, he wants to win mid. Iceman is going to make the whole world, the whole game about winning this lane. And what he wants to do is he wants to beat Viper here. He wants to have a nice decisive victory against Viper here. And then find his way, go out, get some ganks, and basically try to do some early snowballing. He usually likes going to the off lane to do that, so look for him to be ganking top a little later on. If he either gets a decisive victory and a kill, gets a tower, or just if the situation favors him. Mickle, on the other hand, is not here to win this mid lane. Mickle does not care how this mid lane goes, which you might think is odd considering he's Viper, and yeah, he is winning it well so far, so you know, that's good for him, but for Mickle, that's a bonus. That's not the strategy. What Mickle wants to do, Mickle's playing almost a supporting core type role in this lane. He's playing in such a fashion where really what he wants to do is he wants to transfer any sort of the success he does get out of mid into sort of assisting the rest of his team, into trying to help out in fights as much as humanly possible. And to what end does that mean in this game? Well, it's going to mean probably more than anything else, it's going to mean breaks. It's going to mean that they want to break out the Spectre, which is not bad. First blood coming out on Crystal Main here. Ty just kind of walks all over the support. Time to feed, as they say. No, Lambert, only one person is dead, but you're close. Anyway, so at mid, you know, Mickle's going to want to come down. He's going to want to break the Spectre, right? He's going to want to use his Viper Goo to break the Spectre, get rid of that Dispersion, that Desolate. He's going to want to break the Rubik, get rid of that, you know, Arcane Supremacy. He's going to want to break CM. He's going to want to break as many people as he possibly can. Basically, he's going to be doing a lot of using that Viper Goo. He's going to be doing a lot of trying to hit people, trying to keep them slow for Troll Warlord, right? Mickle is not going to be here. He's not going to be the star of this show. He very rarely is. So, look for that to come out here. This is going to be a very important lane in this game. You know, Iceman, LSD, very mid-oriented team, especially with the stand-in in, right? Which is very unusual for them. Iceman, very mid-oriented sort of team. LSD, very mid-oriented team. And as a result, MK-Ulty is dealing with something that they really haven't looked at all season. They have really not seen a team with, like, a really, really, really strong mid. Very often, anyway. I believe they did face the bush, so they have seen Minoy. But that is it, I believe, for the most part. They also have seen Iceman, but last time they saw Iceman, to say the least, it did not go well for poor Iceman's team. It would be very difficult to call that a very good display of LSD's power, or a very good display of, you know, it was an off week for them. Let's just say it like that, right? It was an off week for LSD, and that kind of skewed the results of that, I think, to a degree. Spectral Dagger coming out. Spectre, by the way, has been really just dominating this lane so far, which isn't too surprising. I do gotta say, I understand why we got Spirit Breaker in this game, but man, this is... Wow, Blackacre just barely surviving an encounter up top here with Lambert there. Just barely getting the kill. Anyway, I understand why we have a Spirit Breaker in this game. I don't understand why you have a Spirit Breaker in this lane, though. Spirit Breaker and Tide is like a bad enough lane where, I don't know, I just feel like I wouldn't run Spirit Breaker just on the grounds of having to do that, basically. Bliss denies the sentry there.
That should help.
And I don't know if it's really a hero that plays to meet strengths much. I feel like something like a Spirit Breaker is just not really that great for him, unfortunately. Just not what he wants to be, not what he wants to play, and Matt is suffering for it to a good degree. Now, Matt is actually getting himself quite a lot of last hits, but I guarantee you at this juncture, Matt would much rather Spectre have way less last hits than she does right now than he would have just keeping all of his last hits. He would probably gladly sacrifice 10 of his own for 10, 15 of Spectre's. Iceman has formally taken a powder here at mid, it seems. Okay, he's coming back in, just using his ult there to just snipe out the Viper's easy camp. Which isn't too surprising. I mean, it's going to be what you're going to be doing most of the time against a Viper, I think. You're just, if you try to win the actual lane phase against him, that's not a good idea. It's not a good sign. It's not a good prize. You don't win anything for it except pain. But if you just kind of take a powder every chance you can, figure out what you can do in a lane against Viper, you're gonna do okay for yourself. Plus rotating top here, very interesting. Plus rotating top at a very awkward time. Viper on his way with an Invis rune, and the Spirit Breaker charge is on him, and the Tide ult is coming right out for it. They are not looking at missing this opportunity, but they do. They do here. As Spectre just goes up top, just teleports to where Lambert is, and the kill is off. That is a bit unfortunate. I do think Matt maybe overly telegraphed that. I think if he had just waited a little farther back for a little longer, waited for that Spirit Breaker charge to get a little closer, that probably goes a lot better. Wasted a lot of Kai's time, but I bet he is not too displeased with the turnout there. He had a gank in his lane, and just nothing comes out of it. Mickle going back to mid, tears in his eyes, while Pages is temporarily stewarding over. So like I said before, like I'll say again, I think Pages is probably the MK-Ulty member who's shown the most improvement over the course of this season. And again, I know some people are going to hear that and think, oh, that's crazy talk. You know, Pages is always great. I love when my support does a good job warding, but it's like, oh, we missed that kill. I want to take a look at that. I'm going to go back here, because that was a very quick kill. Yeah, that's just a Viper moment right there. Ouch. But, there's one thing Pages has gotten better at. It's like, Pages still wards basically as well as she did at the start of this season, right? It is such a small tick down in efficiency that it is almost imperceptible. God damn. Can't a guy talk about something here without Rubik getting jumped by 3 in the middle of top? Anyway, Pages' performance, like, in the raw supporting, oh, just died of the Orb of Venom, I think. Oh no, died of the, Poison Touch there. Oh. Crazy game here. Constantly having to use that back button. Anyway, but, on the other hand, Page's ability to do things in the game that aren't literally just the most sort of bare basic functions on that support line. Page's ability to, you know, be able to steward a lane, Page's ability to do the rotations, Page's ability to push out when nobody's around for it, Page's ability to, you know, sometimes just get that early jungle item when the course can't really do that. You know, things like that, right? The sort of X factors there, I think she's gotten a lot better at that. About those since game 1, and as a result, like for example, probably the biggest thing you see, as a result, very rarely anymore do you see the scenario Meat just accidentally earned himself rather than Boofus, but that's okay because Boofus just missed he doesn't have detection. Meat, my man, come on now. Only just now has queued up the sentry, and has now queued up a death. But, oh wow, he didn't turn around to go for Spirit Break. He would have been okay if he just turned around and put the Urn Charge on his head there. That's very interesting. But, as I was saying, yeah, the improvement definitely visible week over week. Good scenario there for the former offlane for Shockwave and Sand King. Less good that Shockwave just melts in the face of Viper. That's going to happen. It's Viper. You're a support. If you're around him, you're going to die. But, as I was saying, and Sand King in that little encounter there looked very, very dead, but ultimately it's fine. Gonna get run over here by Run Over Meat. Iceman is. Drops his chains, walks away, nothing coming out of it. No sweat on that guy's brow. Yeah, good scenario there for the pause 3. Just basically got a free kill without losing much for it. They got Mickle here. But I can figure out probably how that one went, so I don't think we have to go back for it. Just stick around a little too long. You know, I understand why Viper probably wants to get himself some towers. I understand why he wants to get them as early and as often as possible, but that's a little much to ask when you're looking at a lineup like this. It's really going to be able to punish you for getting a bit too offensive at this juncture in the game. I don't think you need to do it. I don't think you need to do it if you're Viper in this situation. I think if you're Viper in this situation, it's like good if you can get the push out, but like, I don't think you need to risk yourself for it. You've got such a great push lineup. I mean, you know how Matt's going to build the Tidehunter, right? He's going to go right into that Axe. He's going to help you push out the waves. Troll Warlord is Troll Warlord. If there are no waves, there is nothing for him to worry about. He can just walk up, beat that tower to his heart's content, and Viper can blow up that tower's armor and make Troll kill it in about 3.5 seconds. Add to that, 2 supports who can kind of wait in the wings, go all offensive on them. That's good. They got a really good pushing lineup for the mid and late game, so I have no idea why we're out here trying to do that this early. Especially when I would say if I'm Troll Warlord, unless Spectre is going absolutely insane, I don't know if I'm that afraid of her in the late game, at least in the context of the scenario. Look at the net worth chart, though. Kai is firmly in first place right now with the 500 gold lead over the pretty much 4-way tie for second place. Almost every other core in the game. He's 500 gold over every other core in the game who has the exact same amount of money, basically. Ember Spear are going to be pushing out top here. I guess that is why you kind of want to go early here. I assume it's just trying to get the pressure off, trying to get them to rotate out. It's just not a winning strategy. Well, look what happens when they do. You die. Ember of Spirit playing this early game very energetically, has not taken a death yet. Neither has Spectre for that matter. Playing this early game very energetically, you know, trying to go for these early objectives, trying to go for early kills, which isn't too surprising for Iceman. He hasn't been getting probably as many as he wants, but... Troll Warlord is going to eat mid tower here. He's going to take a little pain for it, but all he has to say is Chinese Arc Warden turning into Rubik. I don't really get this emote. Maybe this is just a reference to something and I'm too thick to get it. Spectral Dagger coming up. Whoops!
Haste.
Shockwave has the haste rune. Troll Lord has the Battle Fury. Probably not a bad call. I definitely would be thinking to go to farm and go late this game if I'm MK-Ulty. Whirling Axe is coming out. Spear Breaker coming out. Going all in on Shockwave here. This is a very long way. A lot to put on a support. Especially with the Spear Breaker roll. That definitely wasn't necessary. Lambert is close, so he doesn't even get a whiff of that. Watches the tower die.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Meanwhile, though, LST taking up the top tower here. I like Matt gonna try and put a stop to it. Rather successfully. Nobody really wants to fight this right now, especially Spearbreaker crossing the entire world under multiple observers there. Nobody knows who he's charging, and now the answer is nobody. Weird that he stopped. I would have probably kept going for that, right? Like, Troll Warlord does think that's pretty funny, though, so, you know. Where are you going, homeboy? You must think there's, like, more team members up here, but nope. That was a little strange. She wasn't... Yeah, she doesn't even have invis. That was really odd. Zap. Mutual Smokes coming out. Actually, no, not Mutual Smokes. It's both MK-Ulty members buying up the smoke here. CM is very brave for the amount of backup she actually has over here. Like, yeah, no surprise this is happening here. Oh, that's a good ult from a guy like that. Ember Spirit is gonna try and get away here, but man, it's looking pretty unlikely. Oop, yep, going down there to the Viper ult and Q. It's definitely charging out here. No second to breathe in this game. It's definitely a scenario that Ember Spirit you just don't want to be in. If Ember Spirit is alone, this is one of those rare games. If Ember Spirit is If Ember Spirit is alone, very difficult game for him to actually survive in. You know, if he's caught out, it's one of those rare games where he is actually a pretty easy gank, unless he is pretty well prepared. Like, unless he knows well in advance what's coming for him, unless he has good remnants already. And you can't always prepare for that. It's just not in real politics. Like, yeah, sure, it would be great to say, oh, don't do anything dangerous ever without a remnant, but the fact of the matter is, it's just sometimes you're going to need to use them for things that aren't escape. Can't always rely on that. If MK-Ulty realizes that and really puts the spurs to Iceman, they're doing themselves some good here, but I do think they are making a mistake that is very common to see against LST, which is they're ignoring the pause 1. I think that's, generally speaking... Oh, getting some pings out here. I think that's, generally speaking, one of the most common associations, I would say, with losing to LST in this season. You know, sidelining Iceman. And right now, Iceman is sidelined. That's great. He's sitting at the bottom of the net worth chart. He's really no better than he was 5 minutes ago. Right? He's about 400 gold over where he was then. So you sidelined Iceman. That's great news. But what about Kai? He's looking pretty free farming right now. He's almost finished his Ags already. That Ags, they do have at least a pretty decent lineup against that Ags, if nothing else. Like, I don't really know, unless Dazzle's just in some pretty bad positions. I don't really know what the Ags sort of does here with Spectre. Not gonna kill, oh, well, Crystal Main just got shunted onto this cliff. Well, that's a Greek tragedy. Tidehunter just farming a little too close to this. Was cut out here, but ultimately that's fine. We got any Force stats on this team by any
Dire's
chance?
top tower is under
Looks like
attack.
no. I assume Bliss is now just going to try and wait for this T2 to go down, then TP. No, Bliss is just going to TP down bot to try and defend.
Dire's
Along with
top
Sand
tower
King.
is under attack.
And they're going to kill Dazzle. You see that? That was Dazzle, and now Dazzle is dead. That is so sad. Ags out on the Spectre. Is going to be able, I think, in a lot of cases, to force Troll Warlord to ult. But, like, you're not going to beat Viper, you're not going to beat Tidehunter, at least not for a while. And you're not going to beat him fast enough to really justify doing that for even longer. Not even really going to beat Spiritbreaker. He's probably the worst target on this team, at least until the Orchid comes out, because, you know, you jump on him and he immediately blasts away, and no Orchid in that stash, so do not be looking forward to that anytime soon. And that Bioreactor.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
T2 items coming out. Viper finishes Atos there. Rubik picked up the Anchor Smash. I don't think that's what he wanted to get, probably. If I'm a guessing man, he didn't want that. Boof is the first to cast a stone here. Going on Dazzle. Finding out why you don't do that. This is pretty bad. Matt's in the middle of it. Trying to dodge what they were assuming, I believe, to be the Spectre ult there. It just didn't, or not the Spectre ult, the Tidehunter ult there. It just didn't come out. That was interesting. It's waiting for a better moment, I guess. Breaker going back in, making another charge at things. Crystal Main is no more. Spear Breaker is there. Alright. Going all in on illusions sure seems to be a common factor for this game. That's all I'm saying. It's good good timing on Rubik stealing the Charge of Darkness there. Just lets him get the hell out of town as soon as humanly possible. Everything lining up for MK-Ulty to push out another tower here as I get a moment to breathe without having anything to really look at. Paige is calling the team, please to help me defend this. Troll Warlord says okay, and then this starts happening to him. Ooh. That was a... What happened to Troll Warlord? Okay, there we go. That was a good Tidehunter ult there. Troll Warlord kind of got lost in the shuffle, but didn't really matter. He and Mickle just completely cleaned up there. Kai had a whiff of that fight, but just completely evacuated. And really, all of LST dies without being able to get a word in edgewise. Mickle immediately going to Roche here. But, without his shard, he's going to be pretty hard-pressed to actually get the stun. Troll Warlord saying watch and learn. Not too surprising, Troll Warlord should be able to just knock this one over. Feels good to be able to breathe. You know, this is where having a second or third person really comes in handy, right? Nice as peaches. And immediately scouts out a regen rune, which Troll Warlord can take. Why are you doing that? Troll Warlord can take, or Mickle can take. It doesn't really matter. Troll Warlord just gonna walk right back into the jungle here. A Spectre ult going in on the Tidehunter here. Like I said, not a play here that's going to be very productive. A lot of stuff drops on Tide's head, and he just kind of barely gets down to half health, and takes out about as much of Sand King's as he loses. So almost makes it an equivalent trade there. Chasing two rabbits here. The Viper and Tidehunter going in on Rubik rather than on the CM. That they eventually come back together. You know, if you chase two rabbits, you'll lose them both. But if you chase one rabbit, you'll probably get that rabbit. As long as you're a good rabbit hunter. I mean, you can chase one rabbit and still lose that rabbit. But all I'm saying is if you chase two rabbits, you'll lose them both. That's all I'm saying.
Radiant's middle
MK-Ulty
tower
looking at
is under
another
attack.
tower here. Again, no surprise. You know, this is a very strong push lineup. Pages is trying to keep an eye out on Rubik here. And boy, does that sure suck for him. The armor break of the poison touch of the bad juju. The armor break of all the things that Dazzle has to offer really makes
Bottom tower is under
anybody who gets caught by Dazzle just regret their life decisions at this point. It's weird that at this point a Dazzle is having so much impact on this game, it feels like, but here we are. Especially combined with that Solar Crest. Solar Crest definitely a good pickup here. But again, Spectre still free farming, still 0 deaths.
Deceptive rune of invisibility.
Has yet to be under anything that I would describe as pressure in this game.
Dire's top tower is under
Dire's
attack.
top tower is under attack. Blackacre just pushing out up here. There is one thing that this LST lineup has in spades. It's the ability to just kind of push a lane without that much investment. They've really got... uh-oh. Well, make that a bit more of an investment than it was. It has a well-timed Charge of Darkness there from the Spirit Breaker. It's basically doomed Blackacre to destruction. They have some guys who can push a tower with pretty low investment, but that investment does need to be a bit more protected than that in order to succeed. It's looking very low. Oh, that was good. Got denied by the neutral creeps that are pissed off coming out of the jungle. Spear Breaker coming in from top here. Everybody's standing around. No good for Kai. His long unkilled streak is finally over. Bliss is just going to get eaten under a sentry ward here. Calls out a ward, but not the one that got him killed. Poor Warlord is now surpassed for top of the net worth chart over there. And it's a very big pick-off they got there. It's definitely shows sound strategy from MK-Ulty's part. You know, you've got a Spectre on your team, giving you trouble. Whenever you fight, you stick together. Spectre has no place to go, can't really confound things at all, and just kind of gets cornered and pinned. Did a good job separating her, did a good job sealing the deal. Those are big chains. Look how much HP just got dropped on MK-Ulty there.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Rubik gets break juice. That ain't no good for Viper. Yeah, he just melts in a heartbeat. So does Tide. That was the biggest nether toxin ever, dude. That was the biggest nether toxin ever. Lambert is going to go home, but I cannot imagine that anybody's too upset by that. Mead decides to buy back. Very questionable decision. Has nothing to do here. Oh man, Shockwave with that steal, dude. That was the biggest spell steal we've seen in a very long time. All those passes going down right when they wanted. Like, that was probably bigger against them than the Nether Toxin could actually be for MK-Ulty. Which I do think is probably to a degree why they picked Viper. Like, I do think Viper was in some degree a denial pick here. It's also good against the Ember, but I do feel like it's just, you don't want to see Troll, you don't want to see Viper if you're Troll Warlord, because that means you suck whenever your BKB is not up. You don't want to see Viper if you're Tide, you don't want to see Viper if you're Spirit Breaker, and you sure don't want to see Viper if you yourself are Viper, because you're pretty bad against yourself. They're good against the Ember Spirit though, and again they pick out the Ember Spirit in such short time. Like I said, you know, in this game, if he's alone, he's actually rather likely to just kind of casually die. The Spirit Breaker, the Viper ult, I mean, they got a lot to both just ruin his shield, they got a lot to stop him if he's trying to get out. Basically, unless he sees it coming and is able to just jump to fountain or something like that, he is super dead. But I repeat myself saying something like that. Four-man smoke here for MK-Ulty. Only Troll Warlord is left out though. It got immediately broken for Dazzle, who just looks up and finds Bliss stacking the Ancients here.
Has been denied.
Troll Warlord sweeps top to deny his top T2. Missile Maiden is super dead super fast. Though Boofus is going to take out two for his troubles. Spectre's gonna try and make a quick entrance, but there's not really anything to do here anymore. Though that might change in short order. Iceman is here. He's got his BKB out going. That is his 9-second BKB, so he's got a long time to fight here. Trying to fight around the Troll Warlord. He's picked out Mickle in the back line while Troll is occupied doing other things. Kai's saying, nope, keep fighting. But it's going to be a little bit harder. Troll Warlord does just get an invis. I don't know. They do have detection here. They do have detection on him. I'm not sure from where. Maybe the sentry? And then Lambert gets tipped. They're trying to make him mulled. And as big of a kill as Kai was for MK-Ulty a few minutes ago, suddenly they get a kill just as big in kind. Troll Warlord just taking a very casual death there. That ain't good. That is not good for MK-Ulty. It's a bit of a problem for him in this way. You know, in a 1v1 scenario, in just a Troll versus Spectre game, even with the context of this scenario, that's not too bad for him. But you add the Ember Spirit into the mix, and suddenly things get a lot worse. I think this Rubik actually has a lot of wrenches to throw into this measure. I mean, like I said, there's just many spells on this lineup. That Nether Toxin in particular, like if Rubik is able to get Nether Toxin, they basically just win the fight. But there's so many spells in that MK-Ulty lineup to steal and turn around back at them that are so good in this game, especially against the Troll Warlord. It really sucks to be him. Spectre just gonna take a casual look at run over mate here, already in the process of getting owned. Pretty much what that axe is going to be for this game, more than getting anything really offensively done. They're having a little trouble keeping track of the real Spectre. They can identify, but they can't really catch. See him coming out on Mickle here. Viper has nowhere to go. Titan forced to come out to just make it stop. Can't save Viper. Tries to get a kill before he goes down, but doesn't even get that much for it. Ember Spirit just starting to run people over in these fights. Another sweep in from the Sand King. Guy shows up to clean up. That's it. Lambert is on detection, and buddy, he don't know it. Well, it doesn't matter if he's on detection if I'm willing to come out for him for it. This is a long BKB that's not even gonna save his life. Run over meat. Valiant effort in trying to break that up, but just no good. It feels like a game of whack-a-mole from hell for MK-Ulty here. You know, they got Spectre down for a while. They put the thumb on Spectre, but in that time, Ember Spirit suddenly came out of the blue and started doing things. When they had the thumb down on Ember Spirit, Spectre was free farming. And of course, in the midst of all that, Sand King is giving them such a massive headache. Even post-nerf Sand King is giving them such a massive headache. It is very difficult for MK-Ulty to catch or kill anyone when their BKB is up. I do think Mickle is not doing himself the best service with some of these ults. I do think he probably, at this juncture, should be basically just ulting through BKB. Ult through BKB for Troll Warlord to beat somebody up. That's basically where Viper is at this point in the game. As far as his ult goes. He is looking at his shard now. That is good. That is going to give them, if he can get it out in good time, going to give them the ability to turn this around to a good degree. If the BKB is down on Spectre in particular, that just means she has no ability to fight at all, just has to retreat. At least no ability to fight when the Viper's around. Sand King cut out here, Sand King getting run over here. Though the LST lineup is having a hard time getting rid of it. Spectre going in with DD here. Tried to jump on bases, but really just couldn't actually get the job done. It's one of the issues, like I said, of trying to use the Spectre Ags offensively in this game. Like, it's pretty much just going to be for cleanup. You can't try to do that because everybody's got an answer for it. Now, the good news is that the game so far has kind of lined itself up in such a way where Spectre being able to just casually come in and get a random pick is helping them out here. But, sort of the way this is going. I do feel like if this starts to turn around for MK-Ulty, if they do start to make some headway back again, this is a very unusual position for them. If they start to make some headway back again, that Ags is going to start feeling less and less useful as this game goes on. Speaking of Ags, Ags coming out on the Troll Warlord here. wants to just throw out these free and cheap whirling axes. Very interesting. Spectre going to try and jump the back line there for Dazzle. Doesn't actually get, again, just doesn't actually get the job done as CM goes down. But Viper got caught without that BKB up, and buddy, that is not somewhere you want to be as Viper. He finally got Blackacre there. Rubik stole the title, but didn't actually get anything done with it. Then he gets tipped. Run over meat, getting jumped on by the Spectre. But again, the Shallow Grave just coming out, and nothing happens. They're going to try and go under the... I actually did get him there through some sort of... Oh, through the Orchid there. Okay, Iceman is just going out. This is a very awkward situation. Nothing Ty can really do on his own. It's starting to really feel like that felt like it was such a bad go for LST. Like, a lot of things that they did just kind of went to waste, but they still won the fight in pretty decisive fashion. I feel like this is starting to slide away for MK-Ulty, very large part. Vector's just taking out Roche here. Has not died since the big kill in the bot jungle. Iceman gonna get slapped around a little bit for his troubles here, but that should be the only trouble they have in this Roche. Cutter's gonna scout this out, but what to do for him here? I feel like this SB Dazzle support combo is just not really good for them. They are just so defensive in nature that when MK-Ulty gets a good go, the supports don't seem like they can help that much outside of Dazzle's armor break abilities. And Dazzle's armor break abilities are great. Has been using them to very good effect, but that has a caveat that you need to be able to win even through the armor break, and right now it's just feeling like they aren't able to do that. And besides that, it's just kind of, Dazzle's Shallow Grave and Heal and Spirit Breakers charging through the enemy lineup are helping MK-Ulty delay the fights that they're losing, because they just don't have enough offensive power, offensive punch to them. Zags is a little weird to me. Can't really say I get it in full. Peaches gets caught here at the top lane. Guy's able to just immediately jump to that, get rid of it. Gold for me. TB's coming out here from MK-Ulty. Just met with disdain. Right on her ults. Gets to double ult on Spectre here. But Rubik's able to get an ult right back at them and just takes them all out. Runner Meat's going to the longest yard, running the whole way just to get rid of the Spectre there. But all they get for it is an Aegis. And they have no buyback. And Iceman tipped Shockwave. This is looking very over.
Dire's top tower has fallen. Dire's top
The Rubik getting let through in this game, I feel like, was just really disastrous for MK-Ulty here. Shockwave has been doing a very good job just stealing and reflecting. I think Shockwave on Rubik in general has had a very strong performance in this season. I think he has a lot of credit in how this game has been going for them so far. It feels like outside of the last fight where he whiffed the Tidehunter ult, not the fight that just transpired, but the one before it, where he completely whiffed the Tidehunter ult, it just feels like, oh, that's so sad. The creep's the worst possible place for Pages to be. Just does not see it in time to Shallow Grave it out. But, Bliss saying some expletives on air. It's not very professional of you, Bliss. Just at this point, I'm actually going to break out this push here. Go home.
Dire's middle tower is
At this point, it's really just starting to feel like there's not a realistic path for victory for MK-Ulty anymore. Ember Spirit has just been allowed to scale too much. Like, the net worth chart, if this team is going to win, can't look like this. Viper just doesn't scale. Let's call a spade, Viper doesn't scale. By this point, by 38 minutes, Viper is a trumped up, glorified support. He is not worth the paper that he's printed on, alright? you know, Viper, the depreciation of Viper's value has really come to a head here. He can't compete with Ember Spirit. He can't even really compete that well with Sand King. So, at this point, it's just really hard for Viper to do anything. If they were able to keep on top this game, I think this is a classic tale. We've seen it a few times. Like we see this fairly often with, for example, PMA type lineups. If they were able to start on top and stay on top this game, you know, it's a very easy thing to do. Another good Ravage here. There's no follow-up quite yet. Kai's actually able to get out. They have no CC for Kai. Spectre is just able to get out free. So is Ember Spirit this time.
Out.
You can really feel the lack of it here. Almost the only CC they have. The real CC is Spearbreaker. That is pretty good CC, and Lambert eats a whole Sand King ult, and eats Spectre, and just dies. Even though the Spectre eggs wasn't doing a lot of good at the start of the game, at this point when Spectre's able to just kill anybody, yeah, it's doing quite a bit. And again, Rubik with the return on the Ravage!
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Boy, that sure sucks. That is a dieback on the Viper there.
Is under attack.
Troll Warlord is also getting died back if he gets caught out here, but very unlikely that that happens. Yeah, he's gonna be okay. He's gonna casually walk out of here.
This'll come in handy.
Spectre is so far ahead of anyone else, 10k ahead of Troll Warlord. That is not a situation that Lambert finds himself in
Dire's bottom
particularly
tower is
often.
under attack.
He is missing though.
Dire's bottom tower
30k
has
net
fallen.
worth advantage for LSD. Sand King gets the strength blank.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Super sad for Patriots. Now that Spectre is just so far ahead of the world in this game, Patriots just dies instantly. It's evolved into the kind of Spectre X game you do want at this point. That got himself some graves, but
Dire's
it's
bottom
a little hard to see that doing anything for him in this particular fight. Or going to try and come in here, clean house, but he's going to stun lock the Spectre here. Actually get himself the kill, but Spectre's just going to buy back silence, and with the Sand King and the Ember Spirit on the assist, yeah, this is super over.
Dire's bottom barracks are under attack. Dire's bottom barracks.
And Rubik just got bulldozed. I really don't understand why MK-Ulty aren't GGing out of this. I mean, I know it's a bracket game, but jeez, guys. Okay, there we go. I guess Mickle heard me. Past Mickle must have heard me. Called the GG, and we're getting out of here.
Radiant
Nice Spectre counter there. What can you do? The only way you can do is make this a better environment. I actually do think this is a pretty good team to field against Spectre. I mean, nobody particularly counters Spectre, but if Spectre is in a fair game against this lineup, if Spectre has to like go 1-to-1 against this team, I don't think she does particularly well. Like, if Spectre isn't allowed to get like a 10k gold advantage in this game, like the Ags doesn't kill anybody. She just kind of struggles to exist, and is just in this state where it's like, well, if the BKB's not up, you just get armor broken by the Viper and the Dazzle, and the Troll Warlord eats you, and you got the title and all that. If this isn't a god game for like in execution for Spectre, this is just a nightmare for her. But you know, got such a massive gold lead that that fact really didn't matter, and I think any game is a good Spectre game when you're able to get that far ahead. I think MK-Ulti's biggest issue this game is just, you know, Shockwave on the Rubik, Blackacre on the Sand King. They let both of those things through. Which is very fascinating to me. They were not very eager to let Sand King, you know, be played on Bufus the last time they faced him. I do think that that is something that did not work to their credit. I think being overly conscious about banning Kai and Iceman here just ended up backfiring on them in at least this game so far. Just, you know, Rubik just shattered everybody. Sand King just tearing through people. Like, don't let these things through. Like, if the 3 and under club in this game isn't exactly what they need, I just don't think LSD has a very realistic path here. Like, I think if the 3 and under club is less able, I think you just bowl them over, you just get to Spectre. But they just couldn't get to Spectre, they couldn't find her. This is what happened. See what happens next time.